locate dog thieves. This is still officially a police matter. I won't have my license revoked because an unlicensed amateur screwed up, so don't." Jefferina was hard but fair. "You're only to collect evidence, no contact, no actions." "Right," Mac murmured to herself. She'd need hard evidence of the dog's whereabouts if she found them. In this case, that meant photos. She patted her left pants pocket. It contained her boss's newest bit of geek gear, a thermal image attachment for a cell phone. She had never used it before and was much more worried about losing or damaging it than any possible danger to her personal safety. The thrill of her first real PI assignment spurred her on as she made her way under the canopy of moss-draped trees a few blocks northwest of downtown St. Petersburg, in a modest area known as West and East Lelman. She'd done her due diligence, even if the sergeant at the precinct treated her like a cub reporter as she grilled him on the details the police had gathered. The greyhounds hadn't bolted on their own. The padlocks had been cut through, and leashes and muzzles were missing. They'd been taken, dog-napped. That was all he could or would tell her. Next, she'd contacted her usual missing animal sources. Word on the street had been very slow in filtering back to her. That worried her. After months of tracking lost, abandoned, and occasionally taken pets, mostly by good people who thought the animal abandoned, she developed a network of people who regularly funneled information to her about stray animal sightings. In a community that sometimes couldn't agree on much, nearly everyone thought that a person who'd mistreated an animal was a lower order of human being. As she crossed the grass of an empty lot, the earth beneath her booted feet squished, softened by the curtain of rain that had swept in off Tampa Bay at sunset and dampened the area before moving on to anoint more lucrative real estate. The August shower had cooled the air just enough to discourage the gnats and mosquitoes that usually hovered in the warm night air. Illuminated by the city lights from Tampa, across the bay, the sky was never completely dark. Tonight the low clouds magnified that glow so that she didn't need her flashlight to guide her steps. Mac paused in the shadow of a palmetto shrub to get her bearings. The sign across the road read, "King of the Road Mobile Home Park," her first landmark. Thankfully, the rain shower had driven the inhabitants inside, lessening the chance she'd be sighted. But the park wasn't her goal. It was the source of the only clue she'd developed so far about the missing greyhounds. It had come to her via Cedric, a man who lived on the street with his dog, Dougie. While turning in his weekly aluminum can collection this morning at County Sanitation, located a few blocks from here, Cedric said he'd overheard residents of his trailer park complaining about hearing dogs howling pitifully several nights ago. One resident thought she spied a greyhound when she went to investigate. But when the police came, they found nothing suspicious in the neighborhood. This morning, Cedric told her one of the mobile home residents was complaining about the smell that seemed to be emanating from a house on the block directly behind them. As thanks for the information, Cedric asked for and got 3 hot dogs from Doc's Haynes Road Hot Dogs, 1 for him and 2 for Dougie. Mac adjusted her belt. 1 complaint plus 1 complaint might add up to 0, but she was hoping for a solid sighting. She'd love to be the one to solve the mystery of the missing greyhounds. A high-profile case would give her legitimacy with law enforcement, who so far seemed to see her as nothing more than an amateur dog catcher. Emphasis on amateur. "Just get the pictures and get out," she reminded herself. Taking an animal off the premises was not authorized. This was still technically a police matter. Keeping inside the line of shrubbery that ringed the area, she skirted the trailer park and was slapped in the face with a wet palm frond twice for her efforts. Finally, she came face to face with the barrier between the park and the nearby neighborhood. She was prepared for wire fencing. She was unhappy to discover that it was a wood fence. Everybody was into upscaling their bit of turf. It was times like this that she allowed herself to admit that being 5'0" was a bit of a handicap. But she didn't dwell on it. 2 years of being the flyer on a middle school cheer team had left her still limber enough to scale a wall, even if her physical therapist recommended that she not do such demanding activities anymore. And mostly she didn't. Well, not if she discounted her so-called date last week, which involved rock climbing at Vertical Ventures. Mac groaned under her breath. Chasing dogs was more interesting than that date had been. Luckily, the fence wasn't more than 6 feet. She was over it without much effort, despite the fact that